Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Non-profit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of
The
fair
views
use.
expressed at or through this broadcast is those of the individual host and guests in their individual capacities only. The information provided on this broadcast does not and is not intended to constitute legal advice. Instead, all information, content, and materials available on this broadcast are for general informational purposes only. All viewers should contact their attorney to obtain advice with respect to any and all legal matters.
Peace and blessings. This is Jakim from the Hard Talk with Jakim show. Can't get enough of the Hard Talk with Jakim show? You can email us at btom6164@gmail.com. That's bthomp6164@gmail.com. Peace.
Sellout in the hood is the drug dealer, and people don't look at it that way. And
expound on that.
The first sellout is a drug dealer because I'm just trying to feed my family is not an answer for you to be able to kill my family. You can't kill my family because you're trying to feed your family. So you're the first sellout. And we co-sign that and be cool. It's like, he's just trying to eat. He's not just trying to eat. He's killing your family while he's trying to eat. You're creating a climate that makes black on black the worst thing on the planet. You're killing black people trying to make a living. And the oppressor is absolutely loving that. And I said they love a drug dealer. Your colonizer loves a drug dealer because you're killing your people to feed yourself. So I said, nah, you can't get a pass from me. The first.
Listen, this is Friday, y'all, so y'all know what it is. This is the Hard Talk with Jakim show. Listen, I am so glad that we got some great guests on tonight. But Monday, we're going to have a special guest. We're going to have Representative Moore, State Representative Moore, on this show on a Monday night, talking about why she was removed from the Education Committee by the House Speaker, Mimi Melissa Brown. So we're gonna talk to her. We're going to be an exclusive interview with Representative Moore, who says her license and 400 other teachers' license in Delaware ain't up to snuff, and that's the licensing department's fault. So, but we got a great show for y'all tonight. Dr. Terrie's already laughing at that. She already loved that one. We got a great show for you tonight, man. I've got a fantastic community. When I say community advocate, listen, as a community advocate, I don't just say everybody's a community advocate, because some of you are not community advocates. Some of you are just volunteers. That's a difference between somebody who's a civic and community advocate. And Dr. Terrie Williams is a community advocate. I mean, we've seen each other so many places.
Yeah.
Dr. Terrie Williams, I know you got a great sneaker ball coming up in June.
Yes.
Doing so many big things. But give these people who may not know, all of our followers out there who may not know what you do, tell them what you do, sis.
Well, Terrie M. Williams has been incorporated since 2020, right at the beginning of the pandemic. We actually received our incorporation in March and our 501c3 April the 30th of 2020, right in the midst of all the chaos.
Yes.
But we actually made 5 years this year, just recently. So I'm grateful that we are a 501c nonprofit that has been out here in the community for 5 years. I've been out here for decades.
Yes. Yes.
Not only here in Delaware, but actually an advocate in New Jersey. And what so many people don't know, I actually started volunteering in New Jersey with the Assemblywoman in New Jersey, which is now Senator. I can't even think of her name. My name just escaped me.
You know how that goes.
Worked so long working with people, working with the homeless. I've also been a foster parent for almost a decade. I had foster children. I've always opened my home to the underserved. So we've been out here for the last 4 decades. It seemed like generations, but 4 decades between New Jersey and Delaware. So here in Delaware, what we've been doing is basically we primary focus on the underserved. You know, we want to attack those things that come against the social determinants to health and housing. There's so many barriers to housing, so many barriers to people receiving health. So what we do is we practice all those things that we preach. We want to be boots on the ground. We are boots on the ground. We do things that some organizations do not do on a case-by-case basis. But basically, our organization does a whole lot of basic essentials. We make sure people have food, clothing. We also help and assist with housing assistance. And we actually have a 7-bedroom house. So we have been maneuvered, and we are also a veteran. I'm also a veteran. So our focus is re-entry. We have our hands in a little bit of re-entry. We have many community partners, such as Partnership in Re-entry, Coalition of Delaware, PERCOD. Work diligently with them. Faith Forwarded Collaborative. We work with the opioid addictions.
Well,
we do trainings.
Let me cut in there real quick, because what the good doctor is saying for all of your people, and big shout out to Casey Lynn. That's right, Casey Lynn. She put a comment on here. That's right. A lot of people aren't advocates that consider. Casey Lynn, big shout out to you. Casey, we're going to have you on the show again. I always love talking to Casey Lynn. She does a lot of stuff with domestic violence, and so do I. But let me bring in this other lovely lady that's over here. Now, I have to say this to all of you out there. Dr. Terrie is on here right now, but she's actually in Louisiana. She flew out of Philadelphia today doing all of these thunderstorms. So we are so glad that we got now only a 20-minute delay. Is that correct, Doc? Right? So she only had a 20-minute delay. But we have another Williams Dixon here, Ariel. And Ariel, can you tell us what all the things that you do with this fantastic organization? Ariel,
I'm one of the case managers.
Yes,
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Sorry, where I'm at, we have an outage. So I'm one of the case managers. So I'm one of the community case managers. So I'm out and about, linking up with people in the community, seeing if they need resources, like birth certificates, social security cards. We help those. Trying to get them resources for healthcare. At the moment, can you hear me?
And when you get these resources, when you deal with folks to try to get them, especially on the reentry, because I know something about that, former law enforcement. One of the things that I have found is that a lot of people don't have the basic stuff. And I can give this question to you, Terrie. Doc, one of the things that I have found is that how are you over 18 or over 21 and don't have any ID? Now, I can understand folks that coming in and out of prison, but I see a lot of people who walking around who are not in prison, who are maybe been out for years and don't have ID. I don't understand this type of ratchet mentality. Can you explain that to me?
And that's what you said, Jakim. It's a ratchet mentality.
Oh,
it's an impoverished mentality. Like you stated, it's because I don't know why. So many times I think we are so disassociated with our identity.
Yes.
That we won't even keep an ID card on us. Specifically, our men of color who should understand the urgency. Preach. Make sure that you actually have an ID on you. There's so many excuses, and another part is that so many parents are still the gatekeepers of their adult children documents.
Hello.
And they are the ones who are losing a lot of the documents because many of them have gone on to being unhoused themselves. They have things that have been in storage, and the storage get tossed, and people bid on it.
Hold on for a second, Doc. You're hitting on a point that I don't want to screw up. And Sister Ariel, I'm going to have you chime in on this. And I'm going to look dead at this camera. If you're over 21, now, especially 18, I may give you a slide. But if you're over 21, you should have your own birth certificate. Your mama should not have your birth certificate. I'm just saying. What do you think about that, Ariel?
So I feel attacked. Because my mom has my birth certificate.
But don't you have one of your own, Ariel?
I do. I do have a copy.
That's all right. That's
I
all
do have
right.
the copy. She has the originals.
Right, because I got my mother's birth certificate.
So,
That's
you
all
know,
right.
in my defense, you know, because I still be losing things, and I know mom always gonna have it somewhere in the family Bible and in the chest somewhere.
Well, we specifically talking about black men. So we were talking about the black men to make sure you have it. These are some of the things that Dr. Williams' organization can help you with. A lot of times when you go to these organizations, and let me just get serious for a second. When you go to these organizations that are 501c3s out here, especially in Delaware, since we got so many of them, so many of the people who work there don't know how to obtain the things that we need to survive in this society and even thrive in this society.
That's right.
Well, what do you say about that, Doc?
That's why you have to have good program managers who are able to train, to train our workforce, because the sad part about our recent workforce, many of our younger adults, there are so many things. They Google everything that they want to Google, but the things that they should be Googling and talking to Siri about, they don't know. They don't know how to get the resources when it's right at their fingertips. But that's when training comes about. There's too many places out here, too many processes that we can take to be able to be a help to our community. So
and your organization is one of those. Now, Sister Ariel, I ain't gonna let it just slide on with that with the young people, because my wife deals with a lot of our seniors.
Yeah.
And believe you me, a lot of them don't even have what they should be having. 60, 70 years old, 80 years old. You know what I'm talking about.
That's right. That's true.
And Sister Ariel, when I have to say this, when I travel, I'm a public transportation advocate too. And I'm going to talk about that later, about SEPTA and funding for it. When we see so many of our people, and I know that this is one of the things that the sneaker ball is about, you're fundraising so that your organization can get the work out and get some, because this stuff doesn't come cheap to do the work y'all do. You explain that, Oriel.
So I know for birth certificates, it's about $25 to obtain that. Social Security cards, you can go in there and get, but it also depends on IDs, can range from like, I think $20 to like $30.
Yeah, DMV.
Depending on like what you're getting, if you want to get your CDL, if you want to have a regular ID, or if you want to get your driver's license, it costs money.
Thank you. She froze for a second. Remember, we're having a lot of storms here in Wilmington, so
yeah, because I'm in Wilmington also, and the power went out on my street, and then it came back up, and I can see the lights flickering outside, and I'm just like,
yes. So yes, Dr. Terrie. So again, you're having a sneaker ball. And tell the viewers out there what date and where is it going to be? Well, it's going to be in roughly down the block from me in RoseHill Community Center. Is that correct?
Yes, RoseHill Community Center on June the 14th, the Saturday before Father's Day. We're honoring fathers. The wonderful thing about this particular is a family sneaker ball. So many times there are daddy-daughter dances, but you rarely ever hear of mommy-son dances. But what we're trying to do is make more memories, make dreams. We're looking for some of our older men, older women to come out. Maybe fathers that never did first dance at their daughter's wedding, or never taken their daughter to a debutante. She may be 40 years old and he may be 60. We want to bring families together. There's so much going on in our communities that we're so much separated. We're trying to bring people together just to dance, just to have some fun, some games, some food. And I just think that it's important, especially in this climate right now, that we come together. Whether or not you're separated, whether or not you're divorced, we need to be on a front for our children, bringing our children together, knowing that they're loved, bringing our communities together, knowing that we can live in peace and harmony. We don't do nothing but come out and dance.
Well, I tell you this, big shout out to Casey Lynn. You hit me up with some more comments. I think people are scared to be officially documented today. I think that plays a big role. I think you're right, Casey. Yeah, there are, but you know, you can't get anything of value in this world unless you're documented. You can't do it. You can't get a loan. You can't get this. You can't get that.
You can't get housing.
You have some ID. So,
that's right.
Yeah. Also, she says, also those with no fixed address. Now, that is something that we're going to talk about. The homelessness. Now, if you watched me last week, I kind of ripped into Mayor John Carney, and y'all don't have to answer this because this will be just my commentary. I ripped into Mayor John Carney doing his Jedi mind trick on the black community again with this homeless task force. Now, I said two names on the homeless task force that should have been there. My man Terrell Williams, a lawyer, and definitely Marva. Now, Sister Dr. Williams, you would have been a good person to be on that homelessness task force for Wilmington, but the John Carney trick, Jedi mind trick thing again for the black community is in well effect. So I don't know if you went to it. I actually went to the first meeting of the Wilmington Homeless Task Force or Task Force that they had. They had it in a small room in the county building, the smallest room, and there was 100 people there. So we all know that they wasn't planning for all the. I don't know why they didn't plan for it.
They never do.
But that homelessness, and thank you, Casey Lynn, for bringing that up. Homelessness in Delaware is a big issue. Now, if I came to you, Dr. Terrie, and I was homeless, what would be the first things you think you should do, especially if I was a veteran? And I am a veteran, so.
Well, the first thing, especially as a veteran, you know, we always connect resources to either VMC, the Veteran Multi Center, through their SSVF program. Well, first of all, myself, I'll start off finding out what their situation is, whether or not they are even connected to the VA. Because so many of our veterans are not connected to the VA. They refuse to be connected to the VA. And so one of my point of contacts is to be able to contact one of my persons at the VA to try to get them started on VA benefits if they are not. And what I do is try to explain to them the importance of being connected to the VA because there's so many resources. There are so many options of compensation that people don't realize, our veterans don't realize, especially our Vietnam veterans. Some of them are so hesitant about receiving any kind of benefits from our VA. So just encourage those that are unhoused to get first connected to the VA. And in that time that we do what we're supposed to do, we're on this Contact Housing Alliance Delaware, see what resources out here. But I reach out to Miss Dave Mosley and Roger Bungie to see whether or not there's resources. I reach out to Mindy Backus, who is Wounded Warriors, and make sure see whether or not that there is housing with her. I reach out to, like I said, VMC for Miss Terrie. I can't even think her.
And I know in Southbridge, Marvin has that place that does for veterans. So you're absolutely right on that. Well, let me just ask Oriel. Now, Oriel, if I was a female, and I have complained about ladies sleeping in the bus shelters, which a lady on the street is dangerous enough. Now you compound it with being homeless or unhoused because, they want us to use different words. I don't know.
Right.
Being unhoused. What would you say to somebody that was a female that was living in a bus shelter and came to you and said, listen, we need some help. I need to get someplace.
Well, I will make sure they're on Find Beds. Like they're put in, they call or text to make sure they have a bed at like one of the shelters. I do know Sunday Breakfast Mission is first come, first serve.
Yes.
Not highly recommended. It's my opinion.
Yes, ma'am.
But there's other, shelters for women, for single women. That I will help her, but then also I will make sure they have Social Security card, ID, and try to get them into like job placements. So we have a lot of job resources that we have for people.
I know the Labor Department does a lot of stuff like that, and I think in the coming weeks, Yolanda does all my scheduling. In the coming weeks, we're going to have someone from the Labor Department who wanted to be on the show to talk about some of the resources that they have to get you into the workforce. But I will say this, and this is a little bit of my commentary. When we talk about the unhoused and the homeless here in Delaware, in our small state of Delaware, we know about the ones that's in Wilmington and other big cities like Camden and other urban cities, should I say. But the rural part of Delaware has just as much homeless out there in Suffolk County and Kent County and parts of Newcastle County. Because sometimes you could go past some of these encampments that I see that's in the woods somewhere. And you'd be like, okay, this is out in the forest. That's a homeless encampment out there.
That's right.
So the rural needs just as much help as the urban. And don't get it twisted. A lot of times in the rural areas, they have less access to public transportation.
That's right.
Less access to sidewalks, less access to utilities than even in the cities or urban thing. What do you got to say about that, Terry, before we go on our first break?
That is so true. But the good thing about our case managers, we are stretching out into Kent County and Sussex County to be able to meet people where they are. We recently had the opportunity to do the housing stability program that actually came to an abrupt down that left so many people in limbo.
Yes.
But we were reaching out to those that were in Sussex County, Kent County, to try to help them maneuver to make sure that they didn't have to go to the eviction court through eviction through this particular program. So we was trying to make it easier that our staff would drive down, or sometimes they were just that eager to be able to make it up to us. But to those that didn't, we made sure, because like you said, the resources down there are scarce, and it is just as important to meet the needs of them down in Sussex and Kent County, just like it is in Newcastle County.
Yes.
It's a great need.
Well, big shout out to Lored. They do a lot of good work there. We've done a lot of good work with them. This has been the Hard Talk with Jakim show. I'm going to be right back. We're going to take a quick break so the ladies can get some water, but I'll be right back. But listen to this from Toni Morrison and bring your questions onto our comments for our great guest tonight. I'll be right back with the Hard Talk with Jakim show.
Ancestor Toni Morrison told us in 1975 that racism is not just a fraud, but a masterful distraction. They say that Black people have no culture, are not civilized. We spend all this time trying to prove that we are civilized, prove that we have an ancient culture that dealt in science and mathematics. They treat us with complete disregard for our health and our safety, and we scream to the top of our lungs, Black lives matter. We matter, we matter, we do, we do. It's a masterful distraction that keeps us from doing the real work. She talked about the fact that we have to stop fighting the fever and fight the disease. The disease is power. The point has always been power. And we will continue to lose our power, or really maintain none, so long as we are distracted and stuck in this cycle of trying to prove our worth. The only people we need to be worthy to are us.
Family, watch this.
I mean, just look at how money controls politics in America today. The Supreme Court's decision on the Citizens United case opened the floodgates for corporate money in elections. Billionaires and corporations pour millions and millions of dollars into political campaigns, drowning out the voices of ordinary people, of the whole electorate. They're hiring candidates. They're writing laws. They're purchasing policies that serve their interests. This isn't democracy, it's oligarchy. When a handful of wealthy individuals can dictate policy and sway elections, obviously democracy doesn't exist. Politicians just do a tour of duty in government to prove their loyalty to their funders before moving to highly paid positions in the private sector, working then for the same people that they worked for all along. The democracy they have is the one they always intended to have, which is one in which only the rich and the owners of the society have any say. You have the right to free speech only because no one listens to you.
We'll be right back with the Hard Talk with Jakim.
All right, peace and blessings, y'all. We're back with the Hard Talk with Jakim show. So we're back with Dr. Terrie and Ariel. Ariel just stepped out. She'll be right back. We're right back with a great organization, founder of Terrie M. Williams Expansion LLC. If you have some problems that she can probably help you with, that organization could probably help you and get you back into it. Casey, I see you wrote something else. Shelters having so many qualifications for DV victims and homeless women that it makes it almost impossible for women to find a bed. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, that's true.
Both Casey and I, we really, and she really is a great advocate for domestic violence and partner violence here in the state of Delaware.
I've actually been on that committee as well. Yes.
Yes.
You said we actually have connected with domestic violence shelter to get some of our family members that were in distress, tried to get them housed there. But the process is difficult when someone is running and trying to get away, when you have to go through a hotline number to be told and screened online, and then to be told to call back, and we're going to call you back in 24 to 48 hours. And then,
well, let me just give you all something. If you have not watched Hollywood Demons, I know a lot of you are watching this KC trial with P. Diddy, and a lot of you have chimed in with Shannon Sharp's where he's going through. But let me give you a recommendation of a show called Hollywood Demons. I think it's on the A&E or one of these programs that's on cable. One of the things that I've always talked about, and I have been a victim of, is stalking. And stalking goes hand in hand with domestic violence, because these people don't get it that they should move on with their lives if somebody doesn't want to be with you.
That's
now,
right.
In Delaware, and I'm just going to get on my soapbox. I see Ariel's back, and I'll get right back. I'm going to get on my soapbox for a second. Delaware, and I'm going to look straight at the camera. You have got to do something more about your stalking laws here. It is just too easy for somebody who has never had a relationship with you, but in their mind they think they had a relationship, to get around and not have order. We don't call them order protections here. We call them other things. That it's so hard for somebody to get it. Mm-hmm. Now, in this day of social media, in this day of where you can see people and people think that they know you just because they see you on social media, on television, we have got to the legislators have got to put harder stalking laws. What do you say about that, sister?
I do. I totally agree. It is so easy for people to be tormented in their own home. I actually have a family person who's homeless because of their stalker and their domestic violence partner ran them out of a house, their own house. They're homeless, but they have a house and can't receive the resources that they need, and they won't legally oust this person who has tormented the person that owns the house. It's ridiculous.
Yes.
It's too much red tape while people are being victimized every day and tormented and terrorized and running for their lives, and we have no recourse for them. We have no real services for them. The shelters are closed. We don't have any backdoor escape plans for these people. We don't have any housing to be able to partner with people to put people away quickly.
Yes. Well, Dr. Terrie, I'm going to tell you this. I was involved for the last 2-3 years with domestic violence ambassadors, and still involved with them. And we were outside the Newcastle courthouse, the Leonard courthouse. And one of the things that we found is not only do the laws don't help you, but the court system victimizes you again, because the court system seems to want to give due process to the abuser who declare abusers. We ain't talking about somebody. Listen, the show that I'm talking about, Hollywood Demons, had Ashanti on it, and she talked about how hard it was for her to get it. And we just saw that somebody rammed into one of the big stars. It would last in the last couple of weeks. Ran into their gates in California, and this person was stalking them for years and continue. Delaware, I've looked at the Delaware stalking statutes and the statutes that we have here on law, and believe me, they are terrible. I don't even want y'all to, I want you to be fired up about it. But if you look at what they've written, the legislator written on stalking, you would be terrified. Ariel, thank you. We're back with you. Now, Ariel, let me ask you a question. Now, one of the things that we want from the sneaker ball is to raise funds so that we can help other people. Is that correct?
Yes.
Right. So at the sneaker ball, will you have people there? Because I know it's a fun time, because Dr. Terrie said it's going to be a fun time. Will you have people there if somebody came to you there and said, listen, I need some help with this, that, and the other?
Yes, we'll have a few vendors. I know some are from the state. Mm-hmm. And then also the case managers that work for Terrie and Women's Expansion will be there, so we can also assist them. And then also with the grab bags they'll have resources inside along with some goodies, which are only supposed to be for the fathers. So
yeah, I understood. So you're gonna have a lot of men there. I understand you're gonna have a lot of men there.
Yeah, we're hoping for a lot of men to come out because we have some great prizes and some dance-offs. And, you know, I don't want to personally take home all the trophies. So.
There you go. So you want to give them out. Again, let's give our viewers, again, the date, the time, and the place.
June 14th at RoseHill Community Center. It starts at 3.
Good.
3 to 7, I believe. Yes, 3 to 7.
I love day parties. I can't stay out anymore, man. I all my casino days have wore me out, so I can't stay out no more. Listen, if my viewers know this, I won many trophies playing poker, and one of the things about playing poker and playing tournament poker or cash poker is that you stay up too late. It's a grind. And I'm so glad that I don't do it as much as I used to. But yes, it's a day party, so we love day parties.
That's right.
We love day parties. One more thing that I'm going to give to you, Dr. Terrie. And in Wilmington, especially in Wilmington, you go to any library in this state, and it's in this state and any other state, libraries are always where homeless gather. And it's always, the bus stops or the train station for us, Amtrak. They don't do it as much as Amtrak because the Amtrak police will run them out. The library, you can't sleep in there and all those particular things. But are y'all doing any resources or any things at some of the libraries that we have here? Route 9 Library in particular, because that's in my neighborhood.
Well, most of the time, that's where my case managers go. They meet people at the libraries. They meet them at the North Market Street Library. They meet them at the Route 9 Library. They meet them at the Woodlawn Library. They meet them at libraries because, like you said, that's one of the hubs that people go to that's safe and that they can have confidentiality as well. They usually have nice spaces for them to go to. I know Market Street, 9th Street, 10th Street Library has gotten so much more strict compared to, they can't bring in certain amount of bags. They can't do this. They can't do that. And I understand because, some of our unhoused people do not treat the library nice at times. So they actually have put certain restrictions in place, but it's for safety as well.
Yes.
So, but overall, the libraries are a great resource, a great resting place, and most of the staff there are very kind to our unhoused personnel. So we find it a safe place for our case managers to go to, and a safe place to meet some of our clients.
Well, let me just big shout out to Jamar Raming. Yeah, I know you watch me on YouTube, so I know Jamar has turned that Wilmington Library around with all the events that he has over there. Yes, beautiful. And I understand that there are some restrictions that have to be put in place, and it's for all of them, whether you be in Newcastle Library or Route 9 Library or the Wilmington Library. I will say this. The last time I was in the library, which was last week, I think it was a couple of days ago. The last time I was in the library, on the first floor, when you go to the reference area, you know, they're not as harsh as they used to be.
That's right.
Because there was a time where you couldn't even put your head down on the table in the library, and this time it wasn't. Although, and let me just say this, because my second car is public transportation. I was riding SEPTA today and I was beeping. And yes, I did call SEPTA because the train was late, so I'm getting a refund for my money. But I will say this. Well, I had to go to Philadelphia. This is one of the things that has to be addressed if you're doing the homeless task force. I'm going to go back to that homeless task force because one person that was on that homeless task force that should have been on it was a white man named John Sassam. Now, he is the director of DART First State Transportation. So he should be on it since so many people do park their butts at bus shelters. And one of the places that a bus shelter that has been overrun, I'm going to give this one to you, Oriel, has been overrun, is over there by Concord Pike. Concord Avenue, and North Market Street. Let me just say this. Brothers, when are y'all going to get into the game? I'm just going to say this. I don't want to hear not one more elderly person talk about youth when you go past Concord Avenue and North Market Street and see nothing but people out there all day in the bus shelters when our beautiful sisters that may be going to work, maybe going to do some shopping, can't even sit down because you guys won't get up. I'm going to talk about that and sit there just doing the beer and everything else. So when somebody asked me about John Sassam being on, he has to be on because DART bus shelters has to get cleaned up. I'm just saying we need to help these people. And if they don't want to get help, you can't stay here. That's all I'm saying.
But where are they going to go? Let me tell you something. That's our biggest thing.
Right.
We have nowhere to place
we want them to go to y'all. We want you to go to y'all so they can get the help that they need. That is not help. That is not allowing our community to be overrun, that women and children can't even go to that bus shelter. People bypass that bus shelter because they don't want to deal with all those men. And it's men. Men, I'm going to hold you. These are not high value men at this time. We want them to be high value, but they're not high value men at this time. And I'm just saying, it gets my goat because I need soldiers out here that you're sitting up there and you won't even let the lady got on the bus with me and said, they wouldn't even let me sit down. That's
why we need more of our men to talk to men.
Yes, that's right.
When we as women, when we approach and have these kind of conversations, we're called everything except a child of God.
That's right.
And the fact is, chivalry act like it's dead. We know that it's not because there are so many more men out here that are gentlemen. But some of our men of color have lost their dignity, have lost their hope, has lost their compass for life.
And in most respects have lost their mind. Because, and thank you again, Casey. Casey said, I'm out here preaching today. Yes, I'm preaching today. I'm going to talk about what is important.
Right.
I love my community. And the problem that I have my community, and like I said it before, is that we keep allowing this ratchet society or lifestyle to be upfront.
That's right.
When it shouldn't be upfront. We shouldn't have to be talking about somebody on a freak off. We shouldn't have to be talking about these people doing this ratchet stuff, and yet y'all placed these people. They gave P. Diddy the key to the city in mayor. The mayor gave him the key to the city. They had to take it back. Y'all know they was doing these ratchet things, and this person was co-signing when he said, "Are you ready for a freak off?" But I'm not just saying Casey Case and P. Diddy. This is all part of the same thing. It's a connective tissue that we have allowed so much ratchet behavior to be acceptable in our community. And when you clearly need help.
It's what we see on TV and social media also.
Yeah, go ahead, L'Oreal. Yeah, what you said?
I said it's what we see on social media and TV. So, because I'm a millennial and I'm on social media.
Hold on. Stop that with the labels. We don't do the labels here. You're a person. You're a black woman. We don't do labels. Let others do label stuff. But go ahead, go do your thing.
As a young adult, as a young woman, I see on social media, I can't speak for the men, but I know it's a stigma out here, and for what men's supposed to do, what they don't do, and society says it's okay to be soft. It's okay to be gentle. It's okay to not do this.
Hold on, sis. We're gonna get into it. Let me take my jacket off for a second. Society don't say that. They say that for black folk. They don't say that for other folks. They don't. Let me tell you something. You got ratchet people that are Chinese. You got ratchet people that are Korean. You got ratchet people, but they don't put them into the front and elevate them to positions of well, he's an influencer. They put them where they're supposed to be, in the back. If you don't want to do right, you want to hit women, you want to do those things, we're going to put you back here. They have them in every society. We're the only society. We're the only ones that put the ratchets up front. We're the only ones that's going to say, it's all right. No matter how many. I ain't going to talk about it. But
sometimes we give excuses.
I ain't going to preach on them. But Terrie, let's get back to your thing, because I had to give that. And when y'all see it on YouTube, keep the comments coming on YouTube, because y'all hate me anyway, so I love it. But here, the one thing I will say, Terrie, is if you're out here and you're saying that you can't get any help, you have organizations like Terrie's and Oriel's that are willing to help you. All you got to do is let go of that lifestyle. Let go of it. A lot of times we don't even want to let go of the demons that's holding us down. What do you say about that, Terrie?
Well, that's definitely true. So many times we have people that come into our office that would rather lie. And I understand people get tired of telling their story. But as I tell them, I don't come here to judge you. Tell us the truth, because I can't work with a lie.
There you go.
Don't waste my time. Don't waste my case manager's time.
That's
because
right.
We are about trying to help you. And if you're not ready, what I've gotten to the point is that I teach my case managers, we can't help people more than they want to be helped.
That is correct.
We can't keep taking people home on our heart and on our mind, and we having nervous breakdowns in our workforce is because of just all out of sync because of the fact that they're taking on other people's problems home, where these people have other alternative ways to take care of themselves. So as we work with people where they are, and I tell us, sometimes it takes 2 or 3 times to get to the real story. We're going to show interest in that person. We're going to be genuine about what we want to do. But after usually the 3rd or 4th time, if you don't want our services, we are not going to pull you.
Yeah. Well, let me just say this. Casey just wrote on here, and she loved the part where you say, I can't work with a lie. And I agree with you. I cannot work with a lie. If you lie to yourself, if you think you're lying to me, and I can see it's obvious what you're going through, and you're right. I can't work with a lie.
And so many times they don't realize that many of the organizations, once we, they sign off on releases, we communicate with each other. So they don't realize that a lot of times we have to piece together their stories, in order to give them the help. And yes, we have to spend so much time trying to peel away this onion. Yes, I understand that people are traumatized, but the fact is, they also traumatize the workforce too.
Yes.
Because the more that, so many times we have stayed late on a Friday, people call our organization at 3:45, 4:45, and what do? Sit there, try to make calls, almost beg people, sometimes have come out our own budgets to make sure that people are housed, and they come to find out, Jakim, no joke, we helped the family get a motel voucher, got the bus cards, got them a little bit of food to go to the motel. They never showed up.
Oh, Lord.
So what I explain to our clients is that don't burn our bridges, because we have backdoor relationships. You know what I'm saying? Because we've been doing this for a good while. So the goal is to keep our partners. But when we keep sending them people that are not vetted and not ready to be serviced, not ready to be helped, in spite of what we want to do. Same thing with treatment, opioid addiction. We do screening for opioid addiction. We got almost ready for a person to go into treatment. They disappear.
Well, let me just stop you right there, because I'm going to bring Oriel in on this, and Casey had a good thing, and I'm going to answer this one for you. Casey asks, who is the ideal candidate for the organization? There's no such thing of ideal candidate for any organization.
That's right.
What we need for you to do is tell the truth so that you can get help with the truth. We can't help you with the lie.
That's
you
right.
can't get that. Now, Oriel, let me just ask you this. This one, and you're right, Casey, and Casey's been doing it for a long time too, in the domestic violence arena. Your sneaker ball that's on June 14th, is that correct?
Yes.
Now, you're welcoming everybody. White, black, brown, transsexuals, everybody's welcome. Am I right or wrong?
Yes.
Everybody is welcome. I don't want you to think of this organization to be something that's just for black, because once they see a lot of black people there, they think it's, oh my God, it's only for black folks. You know how some of these knuckleheads, some of these putts think. This is not an organization that's here to help just black folks. It's here to help folks. So it doesn't matter what your sexual orientation is. It doesn't matter if you've been to jail or not been in jail. Doesn't matter if you have an addiction. I love for most of y'all who do have an addiction to be addicted to getting your shit together, but that's another story. That's another story. I'm going to give you this. Now, Oriel, give them again the date, time, and where they can go and join it, because we get ready to get out of here.
It is June 14th, 2025 at RoseHill Community Center from 3 p.m. to 7 p.m.
Now, if they wanted to contact your organization like right today before June 14th, what number and where can they go to?
They can call the office at 302-551-3600 or go to the website at terrieandwilliamsexpansion.org.
Thank you. Oh, you did a great job, Oriel. Fantastic. Great job. I'm your Huckleberry. All right, so listen, let me go talk to Doctor before we go and get out of here. I played earlier on this one, and Doc, I just want you to understand, this is just your opinion, and you know we do our stuff in the beginning of the show about opinions and yada, yada, yada. But when Kumo D, the rapper, said that the first sellout in the community is the drug dealer, because you can't tell me that you just trying to feed your family
but you kill
is an excuse to destroy my family.
Right. That was deep.
With Kumo, when I played that video for you, what do you think about what Kumo D said?
You know, that I never thought of it that way, but it was true. It hit the nail on the head. It doesn't give you the right to kill my family because you're trying to feed your family.
Right,
and the fact is, that's really a lie, because many of them, their family's still hungry because they're still out there doing the same.
Oh my God.
Their family's still homeless. So all the lies that you keep telling yourself to satisfy your flesh, to make you, allow you to do what you want to do, but yet you killing your other sisters and brothers that's supposed to be your sister brothers in the community. And then you're lying and you're stealing from their families. Not only are you stealing their money, you stealing lives, and you stealing generations when people are ODing all over the place, dying all over the place. These are people that should be in positions to be a blessing to the community, that they're dying off. Their generations are dying off, and they don't understand that. And then
let me just jump in there, Terry, because let me just say this. After 22 years in the prison in Rikers Island and in New York City Department of Corrections, I had this conversation thousands of times. And I'm going to tell you the one thing I always told them. There ain't no money in the drug business.
Right.
They're selling drugs, ain't no money. It's a lot of risk, but there ain't no money in that business. So, brothers and sisters, if you're in that business, get out of that business. Get out of it now. A lot of you don't even have bail money to bail you out, and you're going to get excessive jail time. They build new prisons every single day. And this knucklehead shipping people out to Venezuela, El Salvador. So you may not, if you are in the drug business right now, I'm telling you, get out. So I ain't gonna make a judgment.
People of color, we understand they get more stiffer sentences than anyone else. So why would you stay in a game that you're not going to win?
Because stop being in love with these lifestyles that are ruining your life. If you're in love with these lifestyles that are ruining your life, ruining our communities, ruining everything. I need soldiers out here. I don't need me to only be the only man at something. And I got 20 black women. Big shout out to the black women in Delaware, because y'all step up. Big shout out to y'all.
All the time.
You guys, I don't know. I don't know what y'all doing. But I can tell you one thing, it ain't doing the right thing for the community. All right, y'all, this is the Jakim Show. I had two great guests on. I had Oriel on. I had Dr. Williams on. And listen, remember, June 14th, RoseHill Community Center. They're going to have a fundraiser out there. They need to make money. And I'm going to finish it up with this. A lot of you think you're advocates out here, and you're really not. You're basically volunteers, and we love the volunteers. I love volunteers. But if you're going to be an advocate for people, that costs money. And everything in this society costs money. And if you don't know how money flows, that's why it's called currency. It's a current. It's supposed to flow. You know, a lot of you don't understand money, and I can teach you, because we're going to do some financial stuff later on down the line. I got a couple of people that's going to come on. But money wants to work, unlike people. That's the reason why as soon as you get money, it wants to, something fails in the house, something fails in the car, because it's designed to work. And we can't do this work if we don't have any money.
That's right.
All right, y'all. This has been the Hard Talk with Jakim Show, man, and we had some great guests. Thank you, Dr. Terrie. Thank you, Sister Ariel. I'm going to leave you today with a great video, and I'm going to tell you, I've seen this, I've left it a lot of times, but I'm going to tell you why you should not be thinking of politicians as celebrities. Listen to our brother Vusi from South Africa talk about why politicians are. This has been a Hard Talk with Jakim Show. Listen, Monday, we've got Representative Moore on. She's going to talk about why she got axed off the education system by another black sister, the Speaker of the House, Melissa Brown.
Wow.
So we're gonna get into it on Monday. All right, y'all. It's been a Hard Talk with Jakim Show.
Thank you, Jakim.
Thank you. And check this out.
One of the problems with politicians is that they run experiments. Politicians, in my mind, they're like these doctors or these scientists that go into a lab and run an experiment, then they leave before the results come out. So they're not invested in the outcome of the experiment.
And they don't care how much damage is done.
Now, this is exactly the point. If you're any scientist of any repute, if you're running an experiment, you're going to be charged with the responsibility over that experiment. You're going to have to publish a paper going, this is what I did, these were my assumptions, this is how the experiment made manifest, these were the outcomes, and here are my recommendations and learnings. To the next person, don't do these things. Politicians don't bear that responsibility. So I can print money for a term, and by the time the repercussions of that come in, I'm gone.
I'm out of office.
I'm out of office. I can try things and might or might not work, but well, life happens.
Well,
Next.